Hey, how's it going? This is Ray Weiss of Conflict Simulations LLC, and I'm back here with another video to showcase one of our games. This game is 1864 on to Jutland, the Second Schleswig War. It is a grand tactical operational simulation of a really important European war that, at least growing up in the States, they don't really cover here at all because it's right in the middle of the American Civil War. But I believe this is the first game that probably has ever, at least a hex encounter war game, to be published on the subject. Other than I know that Dr. Mike Benninghoff of Avalanche Press put out Blood and Iron, which had this war as a scenario, but it was very small, and the scale was it was basically like a couple turn scenario for the scale of the game. So I think this is like the first game that really focuses on this conflict, and that makes me proud. Um, so just like the last video I did, I'm going to go over some of the basic concepts. I'm not going to do a whole detailed explanation of how the game works and how it runs. Just an overview of some of the mechanics, some of the choices, some of the idiosyncrasies and other aspects of the game that I think make it unique. So there's several different unit types in this game. You have regular infantry, cavalry, artillery, and horse artillery. Those are your average combat units. And I should mention I'm probably going to be using some terminology that's only probably going to make sense to other wargamers. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'll be happy to explain what I'm talking about. Other than those main combat units that you have on the top, you have headquarters units, naval units, replacement units, and depot units. And I'm sure you saw the little Swedish unit here. Historically, the Swedes did not intervene in the war, though they did draw up a volunteer corps of about 30,000, I think they were able to muster. So there's an optional rule in this game to that can bring in the Swedes in order to sort of help out the Danes, who have admittedly a tough time going throughout the game. Alright, so with that, I'm going to explain some of the game's mechanics and things that make it unique. So it rolls a d10 for dice. The lower you roll, the better. There's stacking rules that permit divisions to stack together. Divisions are colored by unit type. So if we, the unit type color, so like this green that's in the middle of the unit type here, that means these guys are all part of the second division. But the way this game is structured very much like a traditional war game. There's nothing that should be a surprise to most wargamers, with the exception of the artillery rules, which are a little unique. To give an example of how those work, you would basically, if we were taking this hex over here as an example of combat, you would total all of the total artillery points going against the defender. And let's just like pretend that this guy was over here. So, and all units adjacent to the defender would also contribute to the defender's artillery strength. So this would technically be 3 Germanic artillery points against 1 Danish artillery point. So that would be a +2 in clear terrain. But since there's a town there on the TEC, that would actually get bumped back 1 column on the bombardment on the artillery fire table, so it would actually be a +1. And then you would roll 1d10, and then 8 would definitely be a miss. And the other unique thing about the game is that combat and can keep going on as long as units are adjacent to enemy units. They do start to get disrupted and demoralized if you continually keep on fighting with them, but since the turn scale is 2 weeks and the hex scale is about 2.5 miles, it creates sort of like an interesting, almost like I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but you're sort of like trying to push your luck. Like how long can you keep going attacking before you completely disorganize and demoralize your forces? leaving them pretty open to a bad counterattack on the next turn. I should say this game is maybe not as balanced as history, in that I think the Danes have a better chance than maybe they did, especially if you use the incoming Swedes or the intervening Swedish rule. But I still think it's a good competitive game that shows the general thrust of the conflict. The German player definitely has the advantage just because of pure numbers. And another unique thing I'll quickly mention is in the CRT. As you can see here, Prussia has its own odds row. So whenever you're doing an attack that is just of Prussian units, you use the Prussian odds column. And this is supposed to represent, their improved quality training. It basically took less Prussians than it did other troops to do the same amount of work. And with that, I think we're about to hit over 5-6 minutes, so I think I'll cut it here. Thanks for checking out the video. I hope you check out the game. You can download the rules and this vassal module for free at consimsltd.com. The game itself costs $39.99, and yeah, I guess that's it. Thanks again for checking out a video. Again, my name's Ray from Conflict Simulations LLC, and I hope you have a good one. Bye.